Well, I guess there are limits.
Ah. I can see that I have like a one or 2 second delay.
Yep, that'll just be the delay on Twitch. So, can you hear my voice, and your voice?
Yes.
Chris? And it'll get really annoying. Does my voice sound okay?
Yes.
Good. Alright, you can mute it so you don't go insane.
What's better to mute? I think the stream, right?
Yeah, just mute the stream. Oh, don't mute me in Discord.
No, it was double. What should I mute? The stream?
Yeah, just there's a little mute
Okay.
button on the very left next to it. Did you find it?
Yeah, okay. Already
That's
did.
all.
No problem.
Okay, so we've got 3 minutes to warm up. Quick, warm up, really quickly. Let's so I'm playing Dark Souls. This is a video game.
Go rolling.
Yes, it's very much the dodge roll is a great mechanic in this game. But
I want to see you rolling and
Look.
hating.
I have rolled. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to buy a ring that will let me, hopefully it will let me drop down onto that platform down there without dying.
So like a ring of reduced 4 damage.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So I will go down there and there's a new area. So I'll just be playing that area. I'm not going to fight any bosses today. Just because I didn't really practice for them. And it is very difficult for me to fight a boss and focus on what my guest is saying. So I always feel super guilty when I do that. So I need to kind of figure out like a better way of doing it. Maybe just have, I don't know, the guest like juggle or something while I'm like they can just do a webcam and it's them juggling while I'm fighting the boss, you know. So for the viewers. So yeah. We're pretty close. I hope that my cats don't sabotage me in any way.
Oh, cats are notorious for that.
They do, yes. I mean, I live in fear of my cats. I'm like, no, guys, don't ambush
maybe
me.
why my wife comes here and sabotages me, so
Oh
we
no.
have both something we need to be fearful about.
But at least you could just go like, oh, oh, hi there, honey. Or what do you call her? Mein Fräulein. So that's a joke. Is that a bad joke?
No. For me, I go most of the time with waifu. Because
waifu.
I find it so stupid, and my wife and I had so much time to laugh about it. So sometimes she goes husbando, and I go waifu.
Well, so by the way, it is now 12 o'clock in California, 12 p.m. in California, and it is let's see, 2000 in Germany.
Yes, 8 p.m.
Which is 8 p.m. in other circles, where my special guest star Yo lives. He lives in Germany. I'm Socratic Duck, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. And I'm playing Dark Souls 2 in episode 12 of DWACAAM. And so Yo, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Yo.
Joe, English people have the problem.
It's the J. The J is such a sound in English, and then compared to German, it's just like no, change it to a Y. Um, but anyway, Yo does something. So let's get right into the first talking point, which is we're gonna talk about blacksmithing in Germany and the origin story of Yo and how he got his smithing superpowers. Like, were you bitten by like a radioactive blacksmith, or like, was there
No,
another way?
much more easy. I hit my hand with a hammer and then I was fixated on it. No, but
Please,
I
please tell us like how you got into that.
yeah, I think it was. I think it's a very natural evolution because I played fantasy games in my youth, like Dungeons and Dragons. So I was always interested in medieval stuff. But it gets boring sooner or later if you know everything about it and only can be like the dungeon master and not play anymore because you know everything. So I stopped someday. It was the same time when I started my apprenticeship as a kindergarten teacher. But after a few years, it got pretty bad because today's parents are pretty terrible. Entitled, I think the word is.
Oh no!
So they expect you to do the everything for you, and the child and parent that broke my back were they were like, yeah, this child is dry, it doesn't need diapers anymore, but every day this kid shat himself like once and pissed himself twice, and it was horrible because you needed to take like 1.5 hours out of your day just to clean the child up, and I was like, yeah, get him some diapers, and they were like, no, I don't want to. This went back and forth a little until I said, fuck it, I want to do something else without people. So I got into chemistry. I was a chemical technical technician.
Sounds technical.
After my apprenticeship there, that was much shorter and more compact. I got into HPLC analyzers like high pressure liquid chromatography. So we were analyzing biocides, like the stuff from Monsanto, glyphosate. We had stuff like that, but after some years working there, I had problems with a lot of headaches because of the organic solvents, so that was a problem. But luckily, when I finished my apprenticeship there, before I started working, I already got into blacksmithing as a hobby. I met an older blacksmith on a medieval fair who was very happy to have me because he gets paid to show his craft, so he could let me forge and at the same time sell his stuff and get paid for my forging. But
so it's like to the fair people, they're like, yeah, look, this guy, he's forging over there. So, yep.
yeah, he knows what he's doing.
He definitely knows what he's doing. Look at him. Do you have a beard, yo?
I have a great beard.
See, I've never asked you this before, but I imagine you with a beard. Thank you for not disappointing me. So yeah, I mean, you just have the beard. Sorry.
Yeah, I have long hair, beard, and sometimes I braid it and put ornaments in it.
There you go. Because you're a blacksmith. But I mean, you already had the beard, so it's like, yeah, look, this guy has a beard. He obviously knows what he's doing. He was born a smith.
I think so too. My mother said when I was young, I was always fascinated by fire, so I think it's a match made in heaven.
There you
But
go.
to go on, I started with a friend as a hobby. So I was working in on the normal weekdays, and on weekends I was forging, and later started a small business with him. But we had different opinions about a lot of stuff, so that broke off, and now I'm a self-employed smith since 2018. So I built my whole stuff back again because the other the part with a friend broke off when we had water damage, and medieval stuff is very susceptible to water, like a lot of wood, linen, everything is natural. So we went back to the shop and everything was full of water and mold. So we dumped everything. I took the tools and he left off. So now I'm doing everything myself. But with COVID, it gets a little bit more difficult. So that's my origin story.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think the next point was what I'm forging, and
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe tell me a little bit about the process, and then the sort of
yeah, the
metal
process
working.
the process is the most fun. You take coal, heat it up. You can't use like grilling briquettes or stuff like that. You need to use green coal, like bituminous coal, coke, anthracite coal, or uh, normal wooden coal like you use for grilling. But you need a lot of air because the coal doesn't get hot enough. But if you put air into it, it gets so hot that you can melt steel. So the first thing that's a lot of fun is heating stuff up until it gets really hot. And then you can take your anger out on the anvil because you're doing precise soft blows, very focused to forge a specific shape. So no anger management there. I'm joking. I would bet. So because a lot of people think, yeah, I go out forging and I beat the metal and I get out some aggression, but normally the hitting is the hammer blows are more precise because a lot of things you can destroy, like if you forge a spoon and you hit right on the edge of the spoon, the metal will thin so much that you can't correct it because the metal won't upset into itself, it only will fold. So then you have destroyed your forge work. But
You
normally
wouldn't you wouldn't want that.
again, please.
Oh, you would not want that. You would not
Yes.
want to destroy what you were working on. I would
Yes,
guess.
because most of the time you finish it, you will destroy it when you're finishing it because you think, yeah, I'm almost finished. So your mind wanders, and maybe you leave your piece in the forge and it gets burned. And with burned, I mean it really burns. It's when you take it out, maybe it is missing a part, and the rest is white hot and sparkles like the New Year's sparklers. So completely ruined. But normally I forge a lot of small items because I'm a showsmith. So I go to fairs and markets to show the craft, and the people over there want to see a product from start to finish. So no chance in forging a sword because it will take maybe 2 days of forging, and it is very boring for the people to watch me doing the same motion again and again. So I forge more things like S-hooks, bottle openers, small hearts, stuff out of horseshoes, amulets, small knives that are much faster than, let me think about it, maybe small tools or weird stuff that customer wanted to have. I think the weirdest stuff I forged was on the Mera Luna. That's a Gothic and medieval festival, and a French woman was a black man. I only want to say that because it's important to the story. The French woman came with a black man on a chain and said to me, yeah, I want to have like a wristband, but I want the wristband forged in a way that he can't take it off. I was like, are you sure? And I was asking the man, and she was walking in front of him and was like, yeah, he's sure. And it was like really master-slave dynamics. So after I forged a wristband, I opened it up again, cooled it down, put his wrist in, and hammered it close on the anvil. So your only chance to open is like with a grinder to cut it open, or maybe bend it with a lot of force, but no chance to get it off. And she was so happy that she wanted the same for his neck, with small scrolls at the end where you can hook in your chain. Like, yeah, and I did that. I got paid by her, and then she hooked the chain into it again, and it went off.
I see. That is wow. How noble of you to not refuse this work. Like, all right,
Yeah.
like you guys are adults. You know what you're doing.
Yeah. And he seems fine with it. And it was not like a small dude. When she was in front of him, her head was like on his chest, and he was a pretty big buff dude. So seems some kinky stuff, but
Oh no, I'm sure it wasn't. It didn't have anything to do with any sort of kinky stuff. It's probably unrelated.
yeah, maybe.
That is. I am surprised by that.
Yeah, and the other thing I do a lot is fucking with people, because when they ask stupid questions,
Oh, nice.
like I can remember one person which was asking where I get the coal from.
The coal?
So yeah, the coal for forging to heat up the metal.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine who was sitting in the stand to sell stuff told her that we get it by boat. The boat right besides us. And she was like, by boat. So she came up to me and asked me, when you get your coal by boat, do you use water power? And I was explaining to her that we have like a big water mill in the background that we use for power. You need to know we were right in the middle of a city in front of a church, but some people are just weird. It's the same when they come around and ask, is the fire real?
Is the fire real?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Normally I say no.
It's like, no, it's not real.
Yeah.
But this woman, like, that's so... That is odd.
Yeah, I get really random people. A lot of guys that tell me that my stuff is crap and they can do it better. But normally, I think I have two guys that came up and wanted to show me how to do it better. Did much worse. Normally, the people who know what to do, they will uh, praise everything. Like, yeah, I when I was younger, I did this, but normally, as a craftsman on a fair, you will gather all the weird people and the drunk people. So
Nice.
it's a lot of fun.
I mean,
The
I'm a very reasonable person when I'm drunk.
Yeah,
So I
I
mean,
can attest to that.
um, that's a so. How about like drunk people? Do you have any interesting in, any interesting interactions that you might want to mention here with
Uh,
drunk people?
Normally,
No.
I only have drunk people that fall over. Sometimes they want to start a fight, but when I take a big hammer in my hand and say, "Yeah, we can go," they back away. Um, I remember one guy that was telling me that everything with knives I know is wrong, because in ancient Japan they hardened the sword when the way that they heated it up and cooled it down by stabbing it into a prisoner, because only
Oh
that
yeah.
way the blood can build up in the katana and be
Oh
more
yeah.
hard and sharp.
Yep. That's definitely how it was done. Like I've heard that historically. Like I read it on Wikipedia the other day.
Yeah,
That's totally how they forged katanas.
the great thing was his friend was completely sober and standing right next to him and had a red hat and was like, "Hey, dude, let's come." And oh, sorry, he doesn't mean it that way. He's drunk. And this guy was like, "No, I need to tell him I'm right." So, something like that. Um, but I think the best thing are the children, because a big part of it is forging with children. I have small projects that are very easy, like an S hook, a small wall hook, a snake, a heart, a small horseshoe, stuff where I don't need to do a lot and the child can do much more. So if the child is above 3 or 4 years old, he gets a hammer and an apron
Nice.
and stands right in front of the anvil. And I tell him where to strike, maybe strike a little bit with him, but bending and stuff like that, the children always do themselves. So I hold the iron and explain it to them, and they can forge.
Do
And
you tell them
normal,
that this is really hot? Don't touch it?
yeah, I only had one child that burned itself, and that was very, very weird, because this child was younger, I would say 5 or 6, and she forged a heart and she forged everything until the last part. And normally I tell the children that they need to have both hands on the hammer to um, hit more precisely and to be sure that the child doesn't hurt themselves. But at that point, I told the child to hit over here, and the child let go of the hammer and smacked the iron with the hand. So
Oh, it's this hit over here. Oh, that's oh my. You would think
yeah,
that even with a young child, like they would have figured out the context of what you meant there.
yeah, but I think she was so focused that she didn't think about it, because she was really into it. The funny part about it is I looked at her hand, saw that she had burned herself a little, and was like, "Yeah, don't worry, we can work." And she was like, "Okay." And then she started working, And because the iron got cold in that time, because I was shocked, I needed to heat it up again. And I was talking to her, and everything was fine. Then we forged a little bit more, and everything was fine until the father came and was like, "Oh no, honey, does it hurt?" And then she was like, thinking, "Yeah, it hurts." And then everything was gone.
Oh man,
She was so
see,
focused.
no, you gotta raise your kids to have like a pain threshold. Like you don't coddle them. Like minor stuff like that is probably like a first degree burn, right? That's the.
No,
Oh, you think it was a
no.
second degree?
Yeah, she hit
Oof,
like glowing
oof,
metal.
oof. I mean, I just
But
don't know like how quickly that is. There's an effect that the moisture on your hand will actually create a very momentary barrier when you touch something really hot.
yeah, the
Um,
Leidenfrost effect.
oh, I'm glad you know what it's called. I was thinking that maybe that like would have been enough time, but no. You think it was actually a second degree burn? Because that's pretty hardcore. That she was able
Um,
to just tough that out. Like,
yeah,
oh yeah, this is painful.
yeah, that's something about smaller children that I learned in kindergarten. They can't process a lot of different things. So if you have a small child that's crying, from instinct, the child knows, yeah, if I cry, someone will take care for me. But if the parent is like really focused on something, the child will think, yeah, okay, that's much more important than my small pain, because that could be something I need to remember because it's important for survival. So a lot of times when children hurt themselves, I will take like a leaf or something and be like, "Whoa, look at that leaf. Can you see the color difference?" And the children are like, "Oh, that's interesting." And like
um,
really focus on it, and then they will don't mind the pain because
mhm.
they don't have the room in their head, like they are distracted, and they won't feel it anymore. But with forging, it was the same, and I saw that it was second degree or maybe more, because I could see the white, like the skin was burnt. And normally I had like a burnt salve from the pharmacy, and my goal was to get the child to finish that it has like positive um, emotion, and then talk to it that it is distracted all the time, and then put the salve on it so that it gets cooler much faster, so that the child is not so focused on pain. But the father was working in a different way, so couldn't do anything.
Right.
But the other funny story about, or the other two funny stories about children that I remember is, we have like a big iron ball. I need to search a word because my English, like we call it the parking spot for children, and that's a pretty basic. We have or I have a board that says parking space for children, and in front of it is like a 7 or 8 kilo, that's about 40 to 16 pound iron ball with a chain, and um, a part where you can put your foot in and lock it with a small chain lock.
Right.
So when children are asking, that's funny, I want to try that, so I will let them lock up themselves. And after that, I say to them, do you know how an parking spot works? Or a parking house? And they say no, and it's very easy. You need to pay. They're like, oh damn. And then they get like a small, a small piece of wood that they need to hold in front of the chest, where it says, "I angered the blacksmith," and then they need to move around the fair once with the chain. And if it's a small group of children, they get a big heart that you can smack, and that sounds like a triangle. I don't know. Is that the music instrument that's very easy to play?
Oh, the triangle. But I
It's a
forget the name
triangle,
of it.
okay. Like bling, 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 bling.
Yeah, that's the one.
And when Game of Thrones was newer, normally they shouted shame, shame, to make some room, and the children needs to run. But on some fairs, the children saw that, so I never saw the bowl again, because it was like they were standing to and lining up to be the next one. So that's a lot of fun.
Right.
And the best thing I would say when was teaching children is I can choose which children to teach, because I can say, yeah, if your child doesn't listen, it's too dangerous.
Yes,
So
that's a very easy out. You're like, nope,
Yeah.
sorry, can't have them in the forge. It's too dangerous. I wouldn't want them to be hurt. Also, they're a little shit.
Yeah. So I remember one child that was like, here, I have some money I want to forge. I said, you need to say please. And the child was like, no, I have the money, I'm the boss. And I said, no, I'm the boss and you won't forge here today. And he was I want to forge. And luckily the father took that as a teaching opportunity and was like, yeah, it's your choice, you heard the man, you need to say please. And I think that was it. But half an hour later, the child came back sniffling like, I'm sorry, please let me forge. So that's great, because in kindergarten, no chance. I would have to bend my will to please the parent and the child. But
Right.
there, if someone is an ass, I'm happy to tell it to them, because like the fair security is on my side. So when someone gets rough or interrupts my forging, I can call them over, and they will remove the person from the premise.
Ooh, fair security. Like, do they have halberds? Like, fair security?
If it's a medieval fair, sometimes.
Do they really have halberds?
Yeah, on these smaller fairs, there are a lot of like clans. Let me look that word up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you need to take a call. I will talk to myself. Don't
No,
worry
no,
about
no,
it.
no. I didn't need to take a call. My alarm went off. And then, so I'm trying to live through this boss, right? I'm trying not to die here. So my alarm went off, so I had to go silence the alarm. And then I went to reach up my... I picked up my phone, and there was a piece of tape from a package that I got earlier today on the phone blocking me. So I'm like trying to like do 4 things at one time, and it turned out fine. I survived. I don't.
Yeah, you could die at the same time, so no worries. But you
Well, I don't want to
almost did
die.
it.
I've almost got this bastard. Bastards.
Let's see. Yeah, but I always have fun with children, and normally they are pretty great on Christmas fairs, where I am forging for like over a month every day. There are some children that came back a lot of times, and sometimes I get small Christmas presents. I remember one child that took the old logo and had sawn it out of a small piece of wood like a present. That was very great. But normally I get into a lot of discussions with people.
Right.
Like I told you, like the normal discussion why katanas are so great, and a lot of people think that Japanese ironwork is far superior to the European.
I used to think this, but I actually started watching. We talked about it. The YouTuber that I watched.
Yeah, and it's only because we in Europe had the Industrial Revolution a lot, and that put smiths, blacksmiths, out of business. But in case of ironwork, we were far superior. Like the German longsword is way better because it's made of superior steel. It can bend, and
spring
you have
steel, right?
Huh?
Spring steel.
Spring steel, right? And you could do a lot more with it. But Japanese people are known more for it because they had the craft without a gap in it. For the European countries, we had like medieval times and Industrial Revolution, and now we are getting back into it. But in Japan, that's not the case. And it's the same with woodworking. If you look at old churches, they have the same kind of joinery. Maybe in Japan a little bit more advanced because of earthquakes, but I would say it's the same. Only that Japanese people still have the craftsmen and the knowledge from a few hundred years because the lineage didn't get broken. And congrats to beating the boss.
Oh, thanks. It was a very near thing. I had to. Both of my weapons broke, so I had to equip another weapon, the halberd. I should have started off with this one because it was so much better at killing them.
Yeah,
But
longer
anyway,
reach.
yeah. I didn't really prep for that boss very well, but I managed to do it anyway, even though it's been like 6 years since I fought that one. Anyway, this is interesting stuff about smithery. But we would it be all right to move on to the second thing?
Sure. I
Because
think I got to everything important. If
yes,
someone wants to know something.
especially the katanas. Katanas aren't that great. Although there are good things about the katana. They're just not good at cutting through like any sort of armor. They're a slashing sword, so they're very
they are
good.
perfect for killing peasants.
Yes, exactly. So
I only want to add, a longsword is not so great for armored because you can't cut through armor.
right,
But
pretty
you
much any
can-
sword is not that great. You want a
Yeah, but-
bludgeon.
You can take a longsword in the Mordhau grip that is reversed, where the guard is in front, and you grab the sword by the tip and the middle and use it like a hammer. And
Oh
that
yeah,
is a historical technique.
yeah. Fun times. I would prefer a mace. Um, but yeah. Let us talk about medieval arms some other time.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our second thing, which is something that you know about, which I know virtually nothing about. I'm going to learn something about it. So we're going to talk about Taoism,
Yeah.
which is it's a thing that do you would you say you practice it, or do you just kind of believe some of the principles of it, or you like some of the principles?
I would say I practiced it, but it's something difficult to practice, I would say. Um, the problem with Taoism is that there isn't a lot of source material. Normally, there are three books you can take. One is Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. The other one is Zhuangzi, and the last one is I Ching. The problem with that is the Tao Te Ching is very short. It's like the Enchiridion from Stoicism, like 40 pages max, and it's not very practical. Then you have Zhuangzi, where it gets a little bit more practical, but it's um, packed into stories, like how a butcher works right when he's in line with the Tao.
Right.
And the I Ching is more about mysticism. So practicing was a little bit difficult, but there are a lot of core ideas that I think are very, very important. And the idea behind it is to round up the topic is in Taoism there is a Tao, but the Tao which can be spoken of is not the true Tao. So we can only like go in the right direction, but you can experience it. But if you experience it, it's you can't put it into words afterwards. So you can go near it from different direction, but you can't pinpoint it in writing. So it's difficult to describe. So one thing that's really interesting that helped me a lot was the knowledge about death. So death is normally a thing that's problematic in lots of way of life. Like if you're confronted with death every day, like you see dead animals, or a neighbor dies, maybe a parent or a child, or you die, or you realize that your life is ending. And a lot of decisions are with death in the back of the mind. I know that there's a theory that people only get children because it will prolong their life, but they live through another person, or they want to be famous that the world remembers them.
Yeah,
But
it's
in
like.
Taoism, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, that concept is like it's a bad one, I think. But anyway, what does Taoism say about that?
Yeah, there's a very short passage about it, but it says the follower of the Tao. I don't know how they say it in English, but the person who's in line with Tao. For him, humans are like straw figures that are burnt. So there is a ritual where you make like small animals out of straw and burn them for prosperity. And for the follower of the Tao, human life should be the same, because it's just natural that you die. Because living and dying are part of a whole. So when you are born, you're supposed to die later, and you can't get out of this circle. So to find yourself at ease with death and death of other people, like when my aunt died, I knew it was time, and it was fine because it's something natural and not um, like, yes, the illness took her from me, and I'm angry at the world because I hate God because he took her from me. Stuff like that. You get very close to the circle of life and death when you practice Taoism, in my opinion, because the life in the city, you can practice it there, but it gets much more difficult. If you are in nature, you will attune more to it. Another main thing is the duality. I think you know the yin and yang,
Yes, yes,
and
I think
this.
most people know that. So is that a Tao symbol? Is that where that originates?
I'm not sure if it originated from Taoism, but I know it's a symbol used in the I Ching, so it has to do with that. I didn't read about yin and yang, or I can't remember it, but it's because the Taoism focuses more on the whole. Yin and yang is something that divides good and evil, good and bad, beautiful and ugly, black and white, man and woman. So there is a rift between that. But the goal I take from Taoism is to see above that, or see behind that, that you don't see it as so much different. Because what someone says is beautiful, if someone says this plant is beautiful, then there must be an ugly one. But when you look behind that, it's plants, and we only attach a meaning to that. So it makes stuff much easier, in a way that you don't feel so bad anymore, because everything is fine. It's the same when you look around and you have a flower that in many people's opinion is ugly, but you are happy because the flower is there in the moment and you like it. Or with weather, I know a lot of people who hate rain, or um, wet and cold weather, right, um, at 0 degrees Celsius, like at the freezing point.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself don't like that weather much either. But nowadays, when I look at it, it's just weather, and I can maybe wear some other clothes, and then it's fine. So
So that I'm sorry if I missed this, but did you want to talk about the similarities to Stoicism? Did we get to that yet? Because
no, but
that sounds
we
like a
can.
very stoic, or very similar to the stoic take on it. Is like, don't worry about things.
Yeah. For me, I started with Taoism and didn't find anything that was like it until I got to Stoicism. And Stoicism, as you talked with Thaddeus, I think, about it,
Hmm.
is a very practical way. So, right from the beginning, some core elements of Stoicism, I don't have any problems with it. Like, memento mori, remember death, is not a problem because I already know it from Taoism. I remember that you shouldn't um, go after earthly desires like good food, wine, woman, entertainment. And in Taoism, there is the same thing that says, like, the five different tastes, uh, uh, the five different way to taste something, confuse the tongue. The same would be in Stoicism, where Musonius Rufus tells you that to be a better person, you should know cold, hot, hunger, bland foods, exhaustion, stuff like that. You need to experience stuff that is bad, like uncomfortable, that doesn't feel good. But afterwards, you learn to treasure the normal things.
Nice.
And you know that even if the normal things go away, you can do without them. So you're getting away from worldly pleasures.
Right.
The other thing that drew me to Stoicism is that I know that at that time there were gods like Zeus and stuff like the Roman or the Greek pantheon of gods, but I saw something that see God more like a driving force in the universe that holds it together, like the Force in Star Wars. And Taoism is almost the same. Like the Tao is a force that holds everything together, but everything is change. And in Stoicism, it feels the same. So after I found Stoicism, I had a lot more references and training materials to go further in my study of Taoism. And one thing I really felt it was blacksmithing, to come back to that, because it gets pretty hot. You will burn yourself a lot.
I see.
Normally, when you're forging and you hold the iron with your tongs and you hammer it, scale will pop off and land on the hand that holds
Did you
are
say
holding the tongs.
you said scale?
Scale.
What is that?
Um, the scale is like rust. It's an iron oxide that will build up on the material because the hot iron reacts with the oxygen in the air. Normally, rust is a reaction between iron and water. So it's a different kind of iron oxide. Normally, it's iron 2 with 3 oxygen. And that's more red. And you will also have iron hydroxide, so that will make the different shades of red that you know from rust. But when iron is very hot, it's reactive enough that it will react with the oxygen out of the air and will build up another iron oxide that is 1 iron and 1 oxygen,
Okay.
and that's black. If I remember correctly, that was used in medieval times to make paint because it makes a nice black. But
So
the
which
other
one
problem,
which one
yeah,
was scale again?
scale is the black iron oxide.
Okay.
I
So
can
I didn't want to get too far into what the molecular composition of scale.
oh sorry.
Is it a bit of it's a hot chunk of oxidized iron that flies
Yeah,
off
you can
and
think
fucks you up.
like small flakes fly off,
Right.
and they will land on your hand, and you will get
Oh
blisters.
my god, I didn't heal myself. Fuck.
Yeah, you will. Let's see.
I was
And
like, but anyway, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'll go back. Um,
yeah, so this stuff will land on your hand, and
aha.
you don't have a chance because this will happen, and you
Right.
can't change that. If you want to do blacksmithing, you will burn your hands. And I don't know one blacksmith that never burned himself in his life. So when you get into blacksmithing, you will burn yourself. And you will burn yourself a lot of times. So the Stoicism helped me there a lot because I thought about it and was like, yeah, pain is temporary. Yeah, but the glory of Rome is forever. Uh, uh,
That's
but
helpful. Yeah, it's only been down for like 1,500 years, but sure, it's forever.
it lives in our hearts. But you see pain in a different way because um, earlier when I started with it and and didn't have this hand-on tutorials from Stoicism. With Taoism, I couldn't distance myself as well, but with Stoicism, there were really techniques to um, accept pain for what it is.
Right.
So it got much more easy. Nowadays, I feel it and I don't care much, so the pain goes away much faster. It's the same with heat exhaustion. When I'm in my small forge, it gets pretty hot. I can look up how much degree that's in Fahrenheit, but I know that I killed one clock because it's like a digital clock.
Oh, a watch?
And
Like a wristwatch?
no, it was a digital clock that was standing across the room. And the problem is you have a lot, or not so much room temperature, but the heat has it's a lot of radiant heat, so you feel it in the front but not in the back. So to explain further, I burned myself on my apron because I was
Ah.
standing so much in front of the fort and the apron got so hot and I couldn't feel it because the apron is there to shield you from the heat, that it got so hot that I burned myself on my clothing. I can remember I burned one pair of trousers because I was standing on the side, and when I looked down, I saw that it gets brown and smoke got off. So it's a lot of heat, especially in the summer. And I know the room had uh, 40 degrees a lot of time, or more like 45. That's 104 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know that my digital clock goes up to 55 degrees Celsius, and after that, the display goes back black, and it doesn't work anymore. So I had a radiant heat a few meters away from the forge that's over 131 degrees Fahrenheit. But there, Stoicism is of great help because you can't change that. You can open the door, but if the heat doesn't go down, that's it. You need to deal with it. Maybe drink some water, splash water on yourself, but if you want to do that job, there's no way around it.
Well, it seems like stoicism would be useful for that. Well, you know what? It's 12:55, so we're almost done with the episode. Um I don't know. Yo, did you want to sing a Taylor Swift song real quick?
Sure.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Which one? You know what? I've got one open already. It's called "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together" by Taylor Swift. Are you ready for the countdown, yo?
Yeah, I'm ready for the countdown.
Let me get all the lyrics. You got your lyrics situated?
Yeah, sure. I
It's-
got
I
my
mean,
lyrics.
it's good that you already had these lyrics because we just decided this now. But anyway,
Yeah.
you ready? All right.
Let's go.
3,
3,
2, 1.
1. Ah,
Yeah,
that's a
let's do
great
this.
Taylor Swift song.
Oh, let's do this. I remember when we broke up the first time, saying this is it, I've had enough. 'Cause, like, we hadn't seen each other in a month when you said you needed space. What? Then you come around again and say, baby, I miss you and I swear I'm going to change. Trust me. Remember how that lasted for a day? I say, I hate you. You break up. You call me. I love you. Ooh, ooh. Called it off again last night, but ooh, ooh, ooh. This time, I'm telling you, we are never, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk to
You
your
talk to
friends,
your
talk to
friends,
my
talk to
friends, talk to
talk to
me.
me. But
We
we
never,
are
ever,
never, ever,
ever
ever
getting back
getting
together.
back together. Like ever. I'm really gonna miss you picking fights and me falling for it, screaming that I'm right. And you would hide it and find it in your mind with some indie records that's much cooler than mine. Ooh, 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 ooh. You call me up again tonight, but ooh, 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 ooh. This time I'm telling you, we are never, ever, ever getting
Are
back
never,
together.
ever, ever
We are never,
getting
ever,
back together.
ever getting
We
back
are never,
together.
ever,
You go
ever
talk to your friends,
getting
talk
back
to my
together. Damn
friends,
it, we're out
talk
of
to me.
sync.
But
We're fucking out of sync.
we are never, ever, ever getting back together.
Damn it.
Who can stop?
I can't. We. This is why we needed to practice. We needed to figure out this syncing. We're out of sync by a couple seconds. Um.
Damn it!
Okay. No, it's fine. We're going to salvage this. Okay. Go to the part of the music video where they're getting in the car. Right. Just like it's like 146. You there?
140.
146.
Let me. Yeah, she's at the car and grabbing her boobs.
Yes, yes. Um, okay, so now we're going to count down again. Hopefully this will sync us up, and everything is going to be fine. Because we need to
I
sing
hope so.
together. Let's go. Let's do it. All right,
Three,
three,
two,
two,
one.
one.
Friends talk to
You,
me,
but
but
we are
we are
never,
never,
ever,
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 ever
ever getting
getting
back
back
together.
together.
Ooh, ooh,
You talked.
ooh,
Schei-
ooh, 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 ooh,
Ach, I'm
ooh,
out. Damn
ooh.
it. Yeah.
I used to think that we were forever, ever.
Ever, ever.
I used to
eh,
say, never say
Never say
never.
never.
So he calls me up and he's like, I still love you. And I'm like, this is exhausting, you know? Like, we're never getting back together. Like, ever. We are
We
never,
are
ever,
never, ever,
ever
ever
getting
getting
back
back
together.
together.
We are never,
We are
ever,
never, ever,
ever
ever
getting
getting
back
back
together.
together.
You go talk
You
to your
talk to
friends,
your
talk
friends,
to
talk
my
to my
friends, talk
friends,
to
talk to me.
me. But
But
we are
we
never,
are
ever,
never,
ever,
ever,
ever
ever
getting
getting
back
back
together. Yeah.
together. Ooh, 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 ooh,
We
ooh, ooh. Ah,
back together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my
talk to my
friends, talk
friends,
to
talk
me,
to
talk to
me.
me. We are, I'm never, ever,
Never, ever,
ever,
ever
ever getting
getting
back
back
together.
together.
Oof. Eh,
Ah, that's cute girl noise.
eh. um, guys, I was envisioning that this would go way greater because I was thinking that our sync would be a bit more, and we're just gonna hit you with Taylor Swift. But damn it, we weren't able to practice, so oh well. But I think I did amazing. I think you also did amazing. But I had
Yeah, and together we did shit because we were out of sync.
we're out of sync. It could have been so grand, but like I don't know, the people can hear our range, I think, and they're like, "Oh, Taylor Swift." Um, I think what
We
we
were
should
so
have done.
close to greatness.
I think what we should have done was just one of us have the music video going and the other person pretty much sing off of the other person. because
Yeah,
I
no, you
just.
know it for the next time you force
But
a guest to sing
I'll
Taylor
never
Swift.
have this moment again of just hitting the viewers with Taylor Swift. Um,
Yeah, maybe
I
the next time, Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus.
I like Taylor Swift like way more than I like any of the other uh pop idols, because she actually seems like a genuinely good person, whereas most of the other pop stars are like pretty shitty people for whatever reason. Um,
Yeah, she
because
didn't have her crazy feminazi face like Katy Perry.
yeah, that's Katie. It's I think a lot of it is because these like beautiful people tend to get, I don't know. Actually, people are just shit in general, but
I will cite Katy Perry as science related to math, and that's it.
well, anyway, I feel like it was a great episode. Um, thanks, Yo, for being on the show. Is there is there anything you'd like to plug? Like, did you want to do you want to tell the world about something? You know, because there's going to be a shit ton of people watching this.
Yeah,
Um,
I believe so. Uh, I can say that if you want to have a fulfilled life, you need to work with your hands. I don't care what it is. A lot of people are doing woodworking, blacksmithing, knitting, painting, anything. But the feeling that you have when you did something with your hand and can look at the end of it and see what you have done is great. So much better than sitting in front of a screen the whole day, because that doesn't feel like work. You get exhausted when you go home and don't have energy for everything. But if you're doing something with your hand and you get exhausted, you will have a feeling of fulfillment, or it will give you energy to go much further.
I concur, everybody. I endorse this statement that Yo just made about that stuff. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
have one viewer. Hello,
nice.
Kurt.
That's hey Kurt, thanks for watching. I'm sure other hardly anyone watches it live. Um, but that's okay. I'm hoping that someday people will. So anyone who does hear this, please tell your friends. And like, I'd really like to get people watching it live because I didn't get to it today. But generally, at the end of the episode, I like to interact with the chat. You know, reach out to the masses and say, what do you guys want to ask us, or do you want to introduce a topic or something like that? So I would love to actually have a pool of people to draw upon for that. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Just maybe just promote this with like your every every action that you undertake. Just do that. Make that your job from now on. And you know, if you just do that, that's all that I ask from you. So anyway, this goodbye, audience. Yo, did you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye and thanks for having me.
You're welcome.